Everybody, thanks for joining for the latest Fluent Consulting. It's 10 tips to get the most out of Qlik Sense. There's a number of these that I'll be going through. Understanding green, white, gray, searching for data that's not around, searching for text, searching for numbers, creating bookmarks, and many other things you can see above. Let's go through them one at a time. First of all, green, white, and gray. So when you select something, it becomes green, and the things that are associated or possible with it become white. The light grays can also be selected at the same time, and the dark grays, like Germany here, cannot be selected. If we do select, we deselect Spain and move to Germany. Let's go back. We're back in Barcelona, and we can drill further into data if we need to as well. So what I did just there was do everything but Barcelona. Okay, the second one is when data is not available on the dashboard. Oftentimes developers can't do that for us. And if we look in this one here, we can see that I can't see the managers. So I want to see managers and select one particular manager, David. So I can select the field selector, search for managers. And once I've done that, I can see that David is one of the managers that's had sales into Barcelona. So I can select that. When I come back to my sheet, you'll see that now the only customer that's got sales that happen through David is A and B. Right, so we can search for things in a number of ways, and here's some text searching. And so we'll go back into here and we'll look at the customer and we'll search a few things across the customer. So the first thing we'll search for is food. So I'd like to see how many customers have food in their name, and I can see there's just one, City Fresh Foods. But I can also search for a second character at the same time. So I'm looking for ink, and you'll see here there's a number that have come up, ink, and there's also City Fresh Food. So when you make that kind of selection, you get both the things that you're searching for. So it could be oranges, apples, and you'll get both oranges and apples where they're individually listed. Okay, we can also put an asterisk at the front or the end of the sheet of the selection. When I put it at the end, that looks for it at the beginning, believe it or not. When I put it at the beginning, it looks for company at the end. So it's found all of those pieces, all of those fields related to company at the end. Also do numeric searches. So I'll demonstrate a couple of the numeric searches that are possible. So first of all, I want to select all the records where there's a cost that's negative. So I've gone less than or equal to 0. And I can type 0. And if I hit enter at this time, it selects all of those records. So there they are selected. I will ignore that one. I can also look for costs between certain ranges. So if I do less than 1,000 and greater than or equal to, less than or equal to 2,000 and make that selection. By hitting enter again, all of those records will be selected. Now, this is my favorite tip for searching for things. In here, I'm going to search for all the customers that have sales over 1 million. So I'm writing a formula, sum of sales, and then I'm putting greater than, and I'm typing in 1 million. Now, if I select that one, hitting enter, you can see Acer, and there's a number of customers that had over $1 million worth of sales. The next one's a bookmark. So I've got some information. I've selected the year 2000 in Spain, and it's this particular chart that I'd like to be able to come back to whenever I want. And so I can make a bookmark for this one. So to do that, I move up to bookmark and I create a new bookmark. Once I've created that new bookmark, I can give it a good name, give it a good description. I'll copy the Spain 2020 into the description. And I can save the sheet location, which sheet it goes back to, and also the layout on that sheet. And create. Once I've done that, I click on bookmark and clear everything. So I've got two things. I can make the clear for everything. I can move to a different page. And when I select bookmark, I can see that I've got my bookmark for Spain. I can click on that. It'll take me back to the appropriate sheet and make the selections that I have in my bookmark. I really like this page and I'd like to get it emailed to me each day as the results are updated. And so to do that, I can go up right to the top of the page. You'll see that there's three dots next to the word Qlik. I click on there and there's a piece that says subscribe to sheet. So I click on subscribe to sheet and that's the sheet that I'm using. I give it a description that gets included as part of the email, which makes it easy for me to understand what's coming. I can see that it's a private sheet, and that means it can only be to me. I can't share that with other people. If I wanted to, I could make that a public sheet. And I'm going to get it to come daily. And despite my bad typing here, I want it to come at 8 a.m. So I finally managed to type 8, and I'm putting some zeros, and I need an A for AM. There we go. And I'll get rid of the sharing message down the bottom there, which is getting in the way, and I'll subscribe to the page. So that'll be emailed to me each morning at 8 a.m. Inside the email will be a link back to the dashboard that I can take, or there'll also be a PDF version of the sheet available for me to use, to comment on, to share with other people, and so on. Okay, moving on to the next piece. We can add a note to another user. I'm not going to demonstrate this because I need to have two users online. But you can have a look at that if you need to. Now, the next one I want to do is an ad hoc query. Now, this can be done by anyone, whether you're a professional user and have the ability to create new sheets, or a subscriber who is not a professional user. So I'm going to look at sales. I'm using the master measure for that one. I'll add that in. I'm going to look at the region, because that's the thing that's of interest to me. I find region down here, and I'm using invoice date. So Qlik prepares that for me, but I need to open it for it to do its calculations. Once I click on open, you'll see that it's built an entire sheet for me for that analytics. And I can see that that's at that period, which is November and December, it's quite a poor performance. Most of the regions didn't do as well in December. But I can change that to become more dynamic. And if I click on latest month, you'll see that I've got latest versus last, and I can actually choose any period, and I find that very useful. I remember an Analyse user can do this just as easily as a professional user. So I'm choosing October and November of 2019. And you can see that that now has been calculated, and it's a slightly better result between October and November. Three missed the target, three regions missed their target, and three met their target. Now, I'm particularly interested in Spain, so I'm going to go a little bit further with this, and once again go into my field selector. Here we go, back over to the field selector. We drill further. There's a little sheet about it. And so what's happening here is I'm going into field selector. This time I'm looking for manager, because I want to have a look at David's performance in this. So I've selected David. When I come back across, I can see David did a little bit better. The regions that he had sales in, 4 met their target and 2 missed, but Spain was particularly poor at only 17%. So I want to talk to David and see if I can understand what's happening in the Spanish region. And the very last one is that we can ask questions on the fly. And so in Insight Advisor, which we're in already, we can type questions in here. So the first question I'd like to understand is sales by manager in 2020. I want to do that selection. Qlik will identify those for me, and I can see that Stuart Wind is the top selling salesperson in 2020. And I find all that very interesting, but I'd like to look at how it compares to 2019. I know 2020 was pretty tough with COVID lockdowns and restrictions. So let me go that little bit further. And so now I'm going to 2019 and comparing those 2 years. And I can see that there's some really big differences. Stuart was nearly 5 million for 2019 and only 1.2 million for this year. 1.3, I think it's hard for me to read that number. So these things can be done on the fly, and just an analyzer user can do those things. Okay, so Luan looks after best practices, mentoring and training for customers. And certainly I'd be happy for you to subscribe, like, and click on the bell icon, but also share this video if you find other people that you think it might be interesting to. Please share with them and also comment. Thanks very much.